Hello my queens and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope that you guys are doing well. Today we are going to talk about pharmacy. If you're interested into going into pharmacy as a career and you want to learn more about it, or if you just have some questions about the career, if it's worth it to go into pharmacy and what are the realities of being a pharmacist, then you have come to the right place. I'm currently a pharmacist and I make a lot of videos about pharmacy on my TikTok, so check it out. And I have content about like pros and cons of going into pharmacy, how to know if pharmacy is for you. All these videos are on my TikTok and my handle is going to be in the bio. But today what I'm going to be doing is answering some questions that I've received on a recent TikTok all about pharmacy and going into it a little bit in detail. So let's get started. The first question slash comment here is a really good one and I feel like a lot of people may feel this way. So this person says, I really love your videos, but they often make me question my choice of pharmacy. Although I have been a pharmacy technician for 4 years and I am passionate about the field, and despite being accepted into one of the top schools, congratulations, that's amazing, I still feel demotivated after watching their videos. Don't get me wrong, I truly enjoy your content and advice. Okay, no worries at all. I totally get where you're coming from, and honestly, I had all these feelings too when I was even in pharmacy school, because I was learning a lot of information while I was already in pharmacy school about the job market, about the pay, about the difficulty I was like experiencing as it is, and it often made me feel just demotivated, questioning my field, and I just really felt down about it and like down about the choice that I've made. So what I can tell you is like the things I say, and what this person is referring to is I was mentioning how hard pharmacy school is, and of course it's hard, you guys. Like if it was not hard, then it would not be a doctorate level program. If it was hard, it wouldn't be worth it. Like everyone would be doing it. Everyone would be going and getting a doctorate degree. It being so hard is something you should embrace and be proud of. Because for me, I'm like, it was so hard, but I went through it and I'm really proud of myself. And honestly, I think it's a good thing. Like if it was easy, then literally everyone would do it and I wouldn't feel proud of myself. So I think that part, you should wear it with pride. You should embrace it, because doing hard things is, I don't know, it's just one of the things that makes me really proud about myself, and I really hope that you can feel the same and appreciate it within the field. Number 2 is the job market and how saturated it is. In that video, I had mentioned that Rite Aid is closing, and I know people who literally are unable to find a job in our state. And that's just the reality of it. I'm not gonna not say that information just to make people feel better. I'm going to say that information and at the same time assure you that everything's gonna work out anyways. You may have to be more flexible in the beginning in your career. For example, you might have to move states, or you might have to wait a little longer until a job opportunity comes up. But pharmacy is not one of those fields that are currently booming where there's a lot of jobs. No, like even my hospital is not hiring, and a lot of retail pharmacies are not hiring, and there are a lot of pharmacists who graduate and they end up floating, and floating means that they don't have a one store that they go to. They kind of go to different stores and they float in their specific area, and that's just the way it is. And it doesn't take away from, you know, the hard work that you did in school. It doesn't take away from the career itself. I really think that pharmacy is one of the most important careers. It's very fulfilling and I love, and I'm so thankful for my job as a pharmacist. But unfortunately, it's just a bit messed up right now. Like the amount of pharmacy school graduates and the amount of jobs are just not really in the best place. And that's what's creating the saturation. And again, this is not to make you feel down about it if you're already a student. Like literally, I was in your shoes. I have a lot of friends. Literally all my friends are pharmacists, and they were in the same shoes and they're all working now and they're all doing great. So don't look at it as demotivating. Look at it as it's a piece of information that you want to know and you want to think strategically about. Like, how do you make yourself stand out? What do you have to do so that you can secure a job after you graduate? Do you think you should be maybe working as a technician in a pharmacy? Should you be volunteering at a hospital? Create these relationships early on and make yourself as competitive as possible if you are interested in pharmacy. Now, if you're still researching jobs, then there are a lot of other jobs that are just as good as pharmacy or even better, and they have more jobs open for them. One tip I will give you guys that literally will change your life is BLS, Bureau of Labor and Statistics, it will tell you everything you need to know. It's going to tell you the average salary. And I think on there, the average salary for pharmacists is $136,000 a year. But for those of you who are not a graduated pharmacist yet or still researching, know that a lot of that chunk of money goes into taxes, and know that your loans are going to be as much of that salary and more. So you're going to be really deep in the hole initially, and that's something to consider. So back to BLS, it's going to tell you the salary, it's going to tell you the job growth. So the projected job growth for pharmacists is 4%. I think either 4 or 5%. That is within the average for all careers in general. This includes any career you can think of, whether that's humanities, HR, tech, it's all grouped into that percentage. For example, if you look at nurse practitioners, the job outlook for growth is more than 10%, and there are a lot of jobs open. That's why I encourage so many people to go into nursing. You guys, there are like 3 million nurses, 3 million nursing jobs. Nursing is a really big and wonderful career, and you can move through so many places. If you think about it, something that not a lot of people will tell you is for a whole hospital, I can tell you in my case, for a whole hospital, including outpatient and emergency department care, there are only 2 pharmacists. 2 pharmacists looking over the orders, any product that comes out of the pharmacy, it's just 2 of us. We can handle the whole hospital. It's just the nature of what we do. When you look at jobs like nursing, and I'm just using nursing as a really good example that I would really encourage you to do, because literally you can graduate with 0 to little debt when you become a nurse. What nursing, for example, in the ICU, they may even have just 1 patient, 1 nurse for 1 patient, or 1 nurse for 2 patients. There are a lot more nurses available on the floor. On any given time, there are at least 10 nurses on the floor, aka more jobs, and more likely that you will find a job right after you graduate. More likely that you will also find a job in any state that you are in, any area. So in terms of like job security, availability, and just flexibility in your life, nursing is such a fantastic option, and their hours are also great. So really look into it if you're still researching. These are the types of things that you should be looking at when you go to BLS. Look at how much money you're making. Also think about the debt, because that's very important. Look at the projected job growth, and look at how many jobs are there for each career, and that's going to help you so much. Someone asked, how hard was it to find a residency, and what was the overall process? It was a very lengthy process. Really, when I found out I wanted to go into residency, for me, it was like my 2nd year or even 1st year of pharmacy school. And that is when I knew I wanted to do a residency, because I could not do retail, you guys. Like, retail is just not for me. So I started volunteering a lot. I got an internship at a hospital. I also was the president of an organization, and I was just very active, like coming up with new presentations, doing research, just like literally everything you could think of, I did. I was a student ambassador. I really made myself stand out in the things I did, and really I put in all my time and energy into making myself stand out, because the biggest thing for pharmacy residencies is that you want to stand out, you want to have a story, you want to have a purpose, because all students that want to do a residency are high achievers. They're all going to look the same, like same old, boring. They have a job at a pharmacy, they have good grades, they did X research with X person, but for you, you want to make yourself stand out. For example, I did a fellowship during my pharmacy school experience where I was serving the underserved, and that's something that really made me stand out. And I tied in my story of being an immigrant and just sharing my story with the residencies, and that really gave me a big edge. I also attended a lot of seminars. My school was doing a lot of residency seminars. I literally attended every single one of them to get as much information as possible. So you really use your professors and use your school as much as possible to help you get into a residency. I said, starting pharmacy soon. One thing I'm really scared of is finding a job. It really hits me every day, and my family, aunts, uncles are telling me not, and it's really demotivating. This kind of ties into the first question I addressed, and girl, I feel you. Literally, I was in your same shoes, and people were telling me that from the beginning. And like I said, it's really the reality of the field. It's just unfortunately saturated. But if you're already in it, you know it's what you want to do, because I was literally the same as you. I knew I wanted to do pharmacy. I didn't want to go into med school. Too long, daunting. I really was not interested. I personally didn't want to go into nursing because it's too hands-on. So for me, I wanted to do pharmacy, okay? I wanted to do pharmacy. I didn't care about the job market. I was going to make it work. And I want to give you the same message as you're going to make it work. Like literally, even if you have to wait a little longer to get a job, even if you have to move, even if you have to be a little more patient than you would with other fields, you will be just fine. Don't think about that right now. Since you're already in it, since you know you want to do this, then just put your head down and do as best as you can in school. Study, learn well, know what your goals are. Like, do you want to go into retail when you graduate? I also want to bring a more positive outlook into retail, because I feel like, at least for me, when I was in school, like it just had a bad image. Like professors would talk down on retail, but I want to tell you, retail can be a great job. It can be fulfilling depending on how you look at it. You just have to make sure to leave work and the stress of work at work, and don't bring that home with you. But honestly, girl, my biggest tip is that you put your head down. You look at what you want to do. Like, is it retail? Okay, great. Then just focus on school. Focus on getting a job as a technician, make good connections with your district leader and with your pharmacy managers, and go from there. If you know you want to do residency, then okay, focus on extracurriculars and how to make yourself stand out. At the end of the day, everything's going to work out. At the end of the day, you're going to be a pharmacist, and pharmacists are almost always needed, and you just have to believe in yourself, and you have to know that you will get what you want eventually. It just may require a little bit of patience, and that is okay. Someone said, do you get paid well? I would say that pharmacists get paid decently. You're not going to create wealth with pharmacy. Pharmacy is just going to get you a salary. And that's the case with a lot of jobs, but it's just how it is. With pharmacy, you're gonna create a living. You're not gonna create wealth. You know, you're not gonna see me driving a Porsche. But yeah, I would say you get paid decently. Like I said, I do believe that we are underpaid as a profession for everything that we do, especially if you've completed residency training like I did. I get paid the same as my coworkers who don't have a residency. And that's why in general, I would not recommend doing a residency because of the financials, because it's a scam. Yes, you have more doors open for you, but at the same time, financially, it's like, what's the payoff? It's really just something to think about. So do we get paid well? I think we get paid decently. Go on BLS, see how much the average pharmacist makes in your area, and make a decision if that is good enough for you or if it's not. Someone asked, do you work 5 days a week? Yes, I do, but since I am in a hospital, I work different. My days off are different, so I sometimes have like Tuesdays off, sometimes I have Thursdays off. Like, it's just a little different, but yeah, I work 5 days a week, and my hours are 8 hours a day. Someone said, I saw you considering dentistry in another video. I also posted about it here on YouTube because the pay was better. Oh my God, it's so much better as a dentist. Although I was looking at averages on BLS, and it's not as good as you might think. Like, it's good, but it's not that good. But it's still a really good career. Look into it. If you go into a specialty, that's where the real bank is, and that's what I was referring to in that one video. So she said, is it because pharmacists don't get paid well? From watching your previous videos, it seems like you actually enjoyed pharmacy. I do, it's true. But I'm scared to do it because of the pay always being the same. Yes, as a pharmacist, let me be real. No one talks about this, but I feel like I'm just saying it. I'm literally in it right now, and I'm saying it. And I have coworkers that are about to retire that have been saying the same thing. Pharmacists in a hospital, you will get gradual pay increases. They're never going to be over 200,000. 200,000 is like when you're about to retire. You haven't even reached 200,000. If you're lucky, you're making 180. Pharmacy, there's really not that much growth. For example, engineering, even though it's more saturated now, and the pay starting off as an engineer is not great, but as an engineer, you can grow a lot in different companies. You can grow a lot, and unlike pharmacy, like I make, as a regular schmegular staff pharmacist, I make as much as CVS pharmacy managers make. Like, take that into account. That's a manager. Above a manager, what could you really be? A regional, a director, a regional leader, whatever. But there's only one per each area. There are more, for example, when you look at engineering, there are a lot more tech companies, automotive companies. There are a lot more opportunities for you to work, whereas with pharmacy, it's so competitive. You will have to be a slave to pharmacy to grow and be a district leader. And so many people give up. And like at my hospital, I literally, a lot of the people that come from the retail world were managers. And it's because they were promised district leader positions and they never got them. So it's not for everyone in retail. And the growth is very, very limited and you have to work really hard. It's the reality of it, okay? So the reality of it. For example, if you're like me, if you work in a hospital, gradually your pay will increase. But again, if you're lucky, you'll get to 150,000 like in your early years. You probably won't, but I'm just telling you, like you're gonna grow, but not really that much, not significantly in my opinion. Like I said, like you could work your entire life in pharmacy. If you're lucky, you're gonna hit 180. And this depends on your area. So I don't want to hear pharmacists from California telling me how they make. It depends on your area. But like I'm just being real. Money in pharmacy, not great, and there is not a lot of room for improvement or growth. Most money you will make at a pharmacy is going to be being in industry. I'm working in a pharmaceutical company, and most companies are on the East Coast. So New York, New Jersey, you will have great opportunities, but again, it's very competitive. You need to do a fellowship first. So yeah, if your concern is financials, then don't go into pharmacy. And this person also said, wouldn't that be the same for things like PA school? Because PAs don't really earn that much more than pharmacists. It's similar. I would just argue to say that the PAs, their job is not as saturated as pharmacy. Although now I think it's getting even more saturated. So maybe PAs is not the biggest deal. I think another person commented on one of my other videos, like, the debt for PA school is 100,000, and that's just for a master's. So I didn't know it was that expensive to be a PA. To put things into perspective, a lot of pharmacy schools charge 50,000 a year, and pharmacy school is 4 years or 3 years if you're in an accelerated program. So as a pharmacist, you're in a lot of debt. So it really just depends also on what you're interested in. Like if you're more interested in being a PA, then it may be similar to pharmacy in terms of like the job outlook or the pay or even the debt. Apparently, I didn't know they got into so much debt, but I would say pharmacy in general, depending on where you are, what school you go to, you're in more debt than 100,000. I know I'm definitely over 100,000 in debt. So it's just something to keep in mind. And again, this may seem really overwhelming to you guys if you're like in pharmacy school now, but you will get through it. Like really everyone is in debt these days. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, pharmacy will get you a living. They're good paychecks and will make decent money. You will definitely still be able to build your future, but it's not one of these careers that are going to make you wealth and you're going to be super rich. It's just not like that. It's a good job, but it's also a humble job, in my opinion. And last question here that I have. Yeah, a lot have told me that the debt to income ratio is a big factor. Yes, it's a big factor. But wouldn't it be roughly the same if I did PA school, since PA school cost 100,000 for 2 years? So this was the comment I was referring to. Yeah, I didn't know it was 100,000. That's actually insane for 2 years. But I will say for pharmacy, it's more debt than that. And yeah, they do make similar amounts, but yeah, pharmacy is more than that. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind. And with PAs, it's really interesting. Like you can open your own urgent care. You can work at an urgent care. Like you can work in hospitals. You can work in clinics. I feel like being a PA is such an interesting career. And I feel like there are more options, but again, go and do some more research on BLS, because what I know is pharmacy and what I see are pharmacists and what we do in our career. As well as a new grad, they earn about 70 to 80,000. I'm not sure what area this is, but that may very well be true. But don't PAs earn about the same as pharmacists? I'm seeing the average be between anywhere 110 to 130,000 a year. Yeah, absolutely correct. In fact, pharmacists make a little bit more, like maybe 5 to 6,000 more depending on where you are. But yeah, pharmacists will make a little bit more than PAs. And this person again says pharmacy school is about 100 to 200,000 of that. Absolutely correct, which is what I'm seeing from looking at schools in the US and Canada. Nursing in Canada for me would cost 90,000. Wow, that is actually insane. Nursing costing 90,000, which is probably less than the US. Yes, in the US it's just a bachelor's degree, so you can graduate with minimal debt, especially if you go to a community college before, which is the smartest thing. To go to community college, then apply to a nursing program, 2 years, you're done. Literally 0 to no debt, depending on how you manage your expenses. So yeah, I did not know it was 90,000, and I don't know what they're paying nurses in Canada, so it's not really my expertise and I can't really talk much about it. But yeah, if that's the case, then just do your own research in Canada and compare and contrast. But my biggest thing is to don't be discouraged, because a lot of jobs are saturated these days. The economy's just horrible, and I know not everyone wants to go into medicine, not everyone wants to go into dentistry, not everyone's forte is engineering or math. I know I wasn't, that's why I was leaning more into medical. So sometimes really the best option for you is something like pharmacy, and that is okay. Despite how horrible the market is, you will make it work. This is the end of today's video. I hope this was somewhat helpful. Let me know if you have any more questions about pharmacy or anything in general in terms of schooling. Best of luck with your journey, and I will see you in the next video.